The Black Ops 6 Season 1 update just dropped and there were many buffs and nerfs, so I went through and found the new top 5 meta weapons that you should be using. With the first two guns being honorable mentions, we have the brand new Krig AR, then the brand new SOG SMG. They both seem very good. I got the meta builds for them. Definitely take advantage of these guns while you can because they seem very broken, and you know, Call of Duty, they always add some very broken guns and then nerf it down the line. So I will be giving you guys a 5 attachment and an 8 attachment build, although for the honorable mentions, keeping it simple, just doing 5 attachments. So this gun doesn't have that much recoil. You can get away with the suppressor, but you will be a little bit more consistent at long range with the compensator. For the optic, I am rocking the Kepler Microflex, although the iron sights are pretty good. I just do a little bit better with an optic. For the magazine, we do have the extended mag 1, so I don't really have to worry about reloading. On the rear grip, I got the ergonomic grip, allowing me to play a little bit more aggressive when needed, since this game is very fast paced. That's the same reason why we got the infiltrator stock on here. Very underrated stock. It allows you to strafe very fast, making yourself a harder target to hit. Overall, this is going to be my favorite 5 attachment Krig C. Keep in mind, if you are rocking this thing in Warzone, you typically literally just add the reinforce, maximizing damage, range, and bolt velocity, and then you just want to add the bolt velocity rounds on there. This is just going to make it so everything feels a little bit more consistent on the game, and then probably the extended mag 2 if you are rocking this thing in Warzone. Keep in mind, this video is primarily focused on multiplayer, but you can use all these SMG builds in Warzone just as well. Like, this class is going to be great in Warzone. We got the compensator, eliminate a lot of the recoil there. This gun is a little bit shaky, so that's going to make it very usable. For the barrel, there's not that much damage range on the gun, so we got the reinforce, just making the hit scan potential a little bit higher and just improve the overall damage of our bullets. And for the underbarrel, we do have the vertical foregrip, although you could take this off and maybe add like the infiltrator stock if you want to strafe very fast. The akimbo is very fun, but I gotta save that for a different video. The light stock's also pretty good, but the gun's very easy to use at long range when you use the vertical foregrip. For the magazine, we got the extended mag 1. Maybe in Warzone you'd want to do the extended mag 2. Then for the rear grip, you really want to use the ergonomic grip on like every SMG. Allows your slide to fire speed to be cut in half, so then you actually can play aggressive with the gun. With all that said, here's the 5 attachment SOG build. By the way, if you're stressing about camos or simply just don't have time for them, check out my long-term sponsor Guapsi. They will legitimately play in your account to hard unlock whatever you please. They can do the camos to the gun levels, and this goes for zombies, Warzone, and multiplayer. They don't use an unlock tool, and this doesn't break 2S, so there is no risk of being banned, and no one has before. So if you want to save your time and energy, go to the top link in my description and check out guapsi.com. Now we're going to be going over the actual guns and that I think are the top 5. This is going to be the AS Val. The AS Val is very good. It's just you got to play pretty aggressive with the gun and just kind of use it like a medium range SMG. It's not the best at long range and not the best up in the enemy's face because the mobility isn't good, but it just kills so fast when you're using it correctly. It's super easy to use, and I've gotten so many nukes with it. It's a very enjoyable gun to use. So the bolt velocity for the range that you're supposed to use the gun is already pretty good, but the damage range is a little bit bad on the gun. So we're going to be adding the long barrel to maximize that damage range. For the underbarrel, since the gun is pretty bouncy, we're going to be using the vertical foregrip. It's going to eliminate a lot of that side-to-side bounce. There still is going to be a little bit of vertical recoil on the weapon, but that's why we have the recoil springs. This is going to reduce that by a bunch, making the weapon so much more usable. And since, you know, for the barrel we can't add a muzzle or anything that helps with the vertical, the recoil springs is definitely needed. And like I was saying, you want to use this weapon in a more of a aggressive way, so the ergonomic grip is going to allow you to do so and just ADS a whole lot faster. Then we do fly through ammo, so the extended mag 2 is very beneficial, or the extended mag 1 really is up to you guys, but this is going to be my favorite 5 attachment AS Val build. Now if you want to rock 8 attachments, you got to have the gunfighter wildcard on there, and then we are going to be going over to the stock, to the optic. I like the Kepler, up to you guys though completely. Then for the stock, we are going to be using the no stock on there. This is just going to allow you to move around the map a little bit faster. Improves that movement speed, but that really is only your walking speed. When it says it increases your sprinting movement speed, that is when you really feel faster, but you still will feel a lot faster with the no stock on there. For the last attachment, I typically don't really like to add a laser, but if you are gonna add a laser, I would probably add the fast motion, but then the enemies can see your laser, and so that's why I don't really recommend running gunfighter on the AS Val. But if you guys want, there's my favorite AS Val gunfighter build. Now for the next one, this is gonna be the Jackal PDW. This is gonna be the best rushing SMG because it has the fastest sprint to fire TTK. So if you're running around the map, you see the enemy go to fire, it's going to be the SMG that kills the fastest, and you guys can see there is no recoil whatsoever. We got the reinforced barrel to increase the overall damage of the bullets. SMGs in this game are very weak, so this is going to be super helpful. For the muzzle, we do have the compensator just to make the gun a little bit easier to use at long range. That's going to eliminate the vertical recoil. Then we got the ranger foregrip to eliminate that horizontal, so now there's going to be absolutely no recoil, and this is going to increase your sprinting movement speed, allowing you to feel a lot faster on the map, which is going to be helpful because the extended mag 2 is going to make us a little bit slower. I guess it's not going to make our sprinting speed a little bit slower, but it is just going to make our ADS slower, and that is really annoying. Just add the extended mag 1, completely up to you guys. It's just sometimes with this gun you'll just never die, so the extended mag 2 is pretty fun. And then for the rear grip, add the ergonomic grip, so then your ADS speed, your dive to fire, your slide to fire, everything is a little bit faster. And so if you guys want a screenshot of the 5 attachment jackal, there you guys go. Now for the 8 attachment build, we are going to be going over adding the gunfighter. For the optic, again, the Kepler. We're going to keep all this the same. Oh, if you do want to rock a suppressor, I would, add the suppressor, then add the vertical for it, because there will be a little bit more recoil and that will help you more. But we're going to have the compensator on there. For the stock, we're going to be doing the infiltrator stock. This seriously allows you to strafe so much faster. Might be like, you might even strafe a little too fast where it's hard to hit your shots. But if you can do good with this strafing speed, you are going to be just never dying, because the enemies will never hit you and you have so much rotational aim assist. Then for the fire mods, for me, honestly, I like to add the Markov over pressured rounds. I just like to have a really high bullet velocity. The higher bullet velocity you have, the bigger hit scan potentially you have, and the just overall better hit registration you have on the game. So it is pretty helpful to have a high bullet velocity. This is going to be my favorite 8 attachment jackal. If you want to kill the enemies a little bit faster, add the rapid fire, but keep in mind you will have a little bit more, a little bit less range on the gun, and the suppressor won't be usable because there's a little bit too much recoil. Next up, this is going to be the STG-44. I believe when you hit prestige 1 level 50, you do unlock the STG irons. Oh no, this is the Model L. You unlock the STG blueprint, and it just makes the iron sight super clean. And so definitely make sure you're prestiging and taking advantage of these blueprints. For the 5 attachment build, we got the compensator on there. Again, this is going to be the best muzzle if you want to eliminate a lot of that recoil, but this gun doesn't have that much to wear. The suppressor is perfectly fine on the gun. For the barrel, we are going to be adding the rapid fire. Since this gun does fire a little bit slower, if you miss any shots, it is pretty hindering to your TTK. This is going to make it so we're firing the bullets a little bit faster, so if you do miss, it's not as detrimental, and if you do hit those shots, you're going to be really deleting the enemies. This thing is absolutely incredible. But since the rapid fire does kill a lot of our stats, we're losing bullet velocity, we're losing our recoil control range, we do have to add the reinforced barrel onto here to bring those values back up. One thing, I think this game is a little bit bugged or something, because if we add the reinforced, it says our effective damage range is 9.2 meters. That doesn't seem right at all, because if we go over to, like, for example, the Krig C, and we look at that damage range, it is going to be 50 meters. So I think there's a little bit of a bug. Like, even the SMGs have a better affected damage range, and so I don't really know the true one. I just know if you add the rapid fire, typically always add the reinforced barrel on there. For the magazine, we do have the extended mag 1 again, so we don't really have to worry about reloading. And then I like to play very aggressive with this gun, so we have the ergonomic grip, although you might want to go over here and add the vertical foregrip or the ranger foregrip. For me, I really like the ergonomic. Here's my favorite 5 attachment Model L class. Sorry, it's just, the blueprint turns it into the STG, so in my head it's really the STG-44. Now for the 8 attachment build, we are going to be, kick me out. For the 8 attachment build, again, we're going to be adding a optic. I really like the Accu or the Kepler. I haven't shown you guys the Accu yet, so definitely try out the Accu. And then for Warzone, you can just use like the Kepler Red Dot, just go through and find a site that you really like. I'm kind of waiting for, lots of the pro players to go through and test out all the optics. And then for the Underbarrel, we are going to be adding the Ranger foregrip, since there isn't that much recoil in the Ranger, makes you feel a lot lighter on the map. For the stock, we are going to be adding the heavy stock onto here. Again, the infiltrator, the light stock are pretty good, but the heavy stock is fun because it makes it so if the enemies shoot at you and they hit some shots on you, your screen isn't going to shake at all, making it super easy to stay on target. So the heavy stock, I'm surprised I don't see more people rock it. And then with all that though, this is going to be the meta build for the 8 attachment Model L. Now for the next build, this is going to be the XM4. The XM4, very, very good gun. Some people don't like it, but if you can hit your shots, it kills very fast. There's a reason why it was banned from the competitive league. This build is a little bit slower, so I'll show you how to make it faster if you want. But we have the compensator. Again, the suppressor keeps you off the radar, makes it very easy or a little bit easier to get those tactical nukes as long as you have the right lobby. The iron sights aren't that good, so I like to have the Kepler. The long barrel is needed because I know before this glitch happened, the effective damage range on this gun was so bad. The bullet velocity is good enough for an AR. As long as your bullet velocity is like 750, preferably 850, it's good enough. So if you want, you can add the reinforced to bring up that bullet velocity to 900 meters per second. But for me, I just want the long barrel since I know the bullet velocity on this gun really isn't that good. I have the vertical foregrip to make the gun even easier to use, but if you're used to the recoil, you can take off the underbarrel, then go over to the fire mods, add the bullet velocity, improvement hit registration, or you can go over to the stock and then add the infiltrator stock so you can strafe very fast. But that's if you're used to the recoil pattern or if you're a little bit better at the game. Then for the magazine, we do have the extended mag 1, so you don't have to worry about reloading. This is the build that I think most people will like. Just keep in mind you can't take off the underbarrel. Go and add the infiltrator stock, and then you could even add a suppressor. Now for the 8 attachment build, we are going to be going over to the underbarrel. We have the vertical foregrip. We're going to add the Ranger because there's not that much recoil on the gun. And for the rear grip, we are going to be adding adding the ergonomic grip, allowing you to play a little bit more aggressively. Then for the fire mods, the rapid fire is good on the gun, but it just hurts the range, and there really isn't any range on the gun. So I just really like to have the overpressured rounds on there, improving hit registration. This is going to be my favorite 8 attachment XM4 build. And then if you want the gun to be even easier, you can add the vertical, and then that's another good one. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. It's just really hard for me to only give you guys like one good build, and then for this last one, this is going to be for the C9, otherwise known as the MP5, one of the best SMGs in the game. It has a lot of mobility, allows you to play aggressive. This thing is super fun to use, especially when we add the infiltrator stock, since it allows you to strafe so fast on the gun. And I believe at Prestige 2 or 3 you do get the Tommy gun variant, so that actually makes the iron sights even better. Like I was saying though, add the infiltrator stock, allows you to strafe a whole lot faster, which I could still see the stats without having to take off the attachment. But and then for the grip, we got the ergonomic grip, increasing that slide to fire speed. You want to keep like all these 3 of these values like all kind of around the same. I know the sprint to fire is way lower, but the ADS speed and the slide to fire at least are pretty similar on there. And then for the magazine, you are going to bullet through ammo, so run the extended mag 1. For the barrel, we got the reinforced barrel to increase that damage range and the bullet velocity. The SMGs, we all know, a little bit weak in this game, so it's going to make them not as weak. And for the muzzle, we got the compensator, eliminating all of that recoil, allowing you to really use this gun at long range. Here's my favorite 5 attachment C9 build. Now for the 8 attachment build, for the underbarrel, we are going to be adding the Ranger foregrip. Again, if you're not that good, add the vertical, and then we're going to be going over to the fire mods. And the bullet velocity honestly is already pretty good on the gun, so we're going to add the recoil springs, which actually would allow us to use the suppressor. Then we are going to be adding the Kepler Microflex. This is a very underrated build, but again, I kind of just like having 5 attachments on the SMGs. I don't think you really need 8 attachments, but this is a super human C9, absolutely insane. That's gonna wrap it up for this video. If you guys did find it helpful and you want to get better at Call of Duty, make sure you hit the sub button with the notice on, leave a like if it was helpful, and deuces.